Hello. Today I have a golden turmeric chai, which I know it's not really authentic chai, but it's fast and it's easy. Oh, it does smell really good. I like the turmeric in there. Today I wanted to talk to you about the guy. I don't really know what to call him aside from like the instant boyfriend. We went out to dinner. He was very nice. We had a nice time talking. Like, I will say it wasn't an instant connection, but it was enough of a connection that I did agree to a second date after we had dinner. He was very thoughtful. He asked my favorite food and tried to make me feel comfortable, and the conversation was good. Sorry, I have this cold. he He offered to buy dinner for all my kids so that I could take it home and they could enjoy the food as well. I declined because I personally don't feel like that's appropriate. I guess there might be some circumstances where that is appropriate, but we weren't even close to that. It was literally a first date, and I had made my kids dinner before I left because, like, that's my job. They're my kids. And I just felt like the feeling I was getting was that he was trying to like build like a false sense of security there, like tell the kids. I don't even tell my kids when I'm going on a date, because I don't feel like it's something that needs to interrupt their world. If somebody were to become an exclusive or intentional relationship, then I would share that with them. But even then, it would be a while before I introduced anybody or like had them over to my home, because it's not just my home, it's their home as well. It's their safe space, and I don't feel like my kind of changing scope of dating needs to be even on their radar. They need consistency and dependability, and mom going out on a first date once or twice a week or once or twice a month is not something that needs to be what they're worried about or thinking about. So I just tell them that I have an appointment or I'm meeting a friend. Obviously they know I'm not going to be in the home, and I take care of whatever their needs might be while I'm gone. But I don't make a big deal out of it. So bringing home dinner to my kids and saying, this guy that I just went on a date with, would kind of like upset that whole scenario where I try to keep them separated from it until it's real. This is helping my throat. Anyway, at the end of the date, he wanted to go on a walk. We were in this cute little town and it was a nice day, so we went on a walk. There was a lot of trees and stuff. It was a nice little walk. And he asked if I wanted to see him again. And I said, yeah, we can go on another date, because in my opinion, a first date is not a decision for the rest of your life. A first date is you're trying to see if you want to see this person again. Same as a second date. There should be several dates where you're kind of feeling the situation out before you become exclusive, and at that point then you are considering joining your lives. But with a first date especially, the only question on the table is, do you want to see each other again? And I didn't see any red flags. I didn't see any real concerns. There was nothing like stopping me from seeing him again and seeing if the connection could grow. So I said, yes, I would love to see you again. And we made plans to see each other again. He walked me back to my car and gave me a hug goodbye. And then he said, I'm so glad this went so well. Man, I'm struggling. I'm so glad this went so well. And I said, yeah, I thought it went pretty good too. So I'm excited to see, how it goes next time and see where this goes. And he goes, I'm just so excited to tell everyone I have a girlfriend now. Full stop. No, you don't have a girlfriend now. I have not agreed to be your girlfriend. You didn't ask me to be your girlfriend. You asked me if I'd like to go on a second date. So it was in that moment where I very politely said, no, that's not how this works. Like, this is a first date, and if If that goes well, then we have a second date. If that goes well, then it continues. And we might decide to become exclusive and go on the boyfriend-girlfriend route. But at this point, it's just a second date. And he was like, no, you're my girlfriend. You want to see me again, so you're my girlfriend. And I'm going to tell everybody, and I'm excited to introduce you to everybody. And so, nope. I know that I originally said I was open to a second date, but based on this new information, I am no longer interested in a second date. Thank you for your time. I did enjoy myself, but it's clear that we have different priorities and different expectations on how the speed of this connection should go. I'm not comfortable with becoming your girlfriend after one date. So, thank you, but no. And all the red flags right then and there. All the red flags. He was a religious man. He was high up in his church. He was calling down all the things on me, saying that I was terrible for leading him on, and like every red flag that you can think of a person not liking your answer happened in the span of about 7 minutes. And I was grateful for the conversation because it let me see who he really was. So what I learned from that is that obviously we have expectations and boundaries for a reason. We know we should walk into dating knowing exactly what is going to work for us and what is not going to work for us. And when something looks a little suspicious, we should absolutely have conversations about that and ask further questions for clarification. Because when you are in a dating relationship, the other person also has their own boundaries and expectations that they are going into the situation with. You cannot assume that everybody has the same mindset that you do when you're walking into that situation. So it's not just about, do we connect? Do we have enough in common? It's also about, do we have the same expectations for how this part of the process should go? Because honestly, if you don't have the same expectations in the beginning, you're not going to get anywhere. It's just going to be frustrating. One of you is going to want to be slowing down, and one of you is going to want to be speeding up. Now, for me, his speed was uncomfortable and unhealthy. I know for other people, that kind of speed works out well. And there'll probably be comments, and you probably know people that are like, we got married on date 3, or we got married after the first date, or we just knew the first day we knew each other. That's great. That's awesome for you. And I'm not saying that that's wrong, but that is wrong for me. And so when you are rejecting a potential suitor, you're not saying that they are wrong or their way is wrong. You are saying it doesn't match what you need in your life, and there's nothing wrong with that. And if somebody can't see that a rejection of a situation is not a rejection of an individual, they're not healthy enough to be dating, and they're not mature enough to be having all the conversations that should happen in that kind of relationship. So I definitely solidified something that I had been obviously learning and working on, is that those questions are important, they are valid, and you should finish them. Don't just walk away saying, oh, I wonder if this is what he meant, or I wonder if this is how it's going to go. Find out. Find out. Because you're wasting both people's time by wondering and not having an answer. So ask the questions. Make sure you're both on the same page and you're both having the same understanding before you move forward. It'll save everybody time. It'll save all of you a headache. And it'll free both of you up to find what you're actually looking for.